Well, I've achieved one thing and not fallen up the stairs, so that's awesome. Tonight is extra important because not only are these paintings of the first two and only two living people to be portrayed in these galleries, but they are Aboriginal women. Yeah. Good evening, and thank you for joining us here at the State Library of New South Wales. Tonight is a very special evening, and we are here to celebrate and consecrate two recently acquired portraits of two incredible women. Professors Deborah Cheetham Fraillon and Lynette Riley, or Lynn Riley, as I know her, are both AOs. They are legends of our time, and without shaming them too much, these women are known as revolutionaries, teachers, storytellers, warriors, and healers. Their grace and strength are inspirational to many of us, but so is their grit and their genius. They are masters of their craft, and it is a humbling pleasure to have them and the talented artists Vicki, Sullivan, and Charlie Lund, who created these works here tonight. But first, it's my pleasure to introduce Uncle Craig Madden to welcome us to country this evening.
Thank you very much, Melissa. Warami, Bujirigamarua. G'day, welcome. My name is Craig Madden, and I'd like to start by thanking the State Library of New South Wales for inviting me here today to welcome you to country. I'm a proud Bunjalung Gadigal man from the Eora Nation. Gadigal land is the land on which we are gathered here today. Jinyura Gadigal, this land is Gadigal. It is our custom for our people when we invite our guests or visitors onto our land or country that we offer you safe passage as you pass through and sit on our lands, a custom that we've been doing for thousands of years. So as a proud Gadigal man and as a representative of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, I'd like to welcome you all to Gadigal land, Aboriginal land. I'd like to pay my respects to our elders past and present, for they are the storytellers and the knowledge holders of our people. I'd also like to acknowledge our ancestors, for they watch over us all as we walk on these sacred lands. To our Aboriginal brothers and sisters, we only brothers and sisters from the Torres Strait Islands, welcome. To all our non-Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander brothers and sisters here today, a warm welcome to Gadigal land. Our Gadigal clan is one of the 29 clans which make up the Eora Nation, and that's a nation that's bound by three distinct landmarks. So we've got the Hawkes River to the north, the Nepean River out to the west, and the Georges River down to the south. Within the boundaries of those mighty rivers lie our Eora Nation, and the land that we gather on here today of our Gadigal mob, as I mentioned, are one of the many clans of that nation. Any guests from across the seas, anyone from across our great country, great state to this beautiful city of ours, which has really turned it on for us today and on this beautiful night. So once again, on behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council and its members and our Gadigal mob, when you travel this afternoon, travel safely and please be kind to one another in these trying times. And look, I hope you all enjoy the night, because I had the pleasure of spending 20 minutes with these beautiful women, wonderful women outside, and hope you enjoy the conversation that I had with them as much as they speak about up here tonight. So once again, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I think lastly and most importantly that we must remember that under the grassland and the asphalt and the waterways of this beautiful country always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle, for welcoming us tonight. I wasn't supposed to give this. It was supposed to be Damien, who is just amazing. But and I'm so pleased to be able to step in for him. So thank you, Uncle, for welcoming us tonight. My name is Melissa Jackson, ... But really, it's not about me, it's not about Damien, it's about the amazing artists and the amazing sitters. And this is one of the first times that we've done this type of thing. We've spoken about not only what it's like to have your artwork exhibited in an organisation or an institution such as ours, but what it's like to be painted. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce or bring the panel up. So panel, please. I could sit here and shame you all, and because I do have bios here of everybody. However, I know that you're not afraid of talking yourselves up, so I'll let you go and tell us all about what it's like to be an artist and to be a sitter. So we'll start off with. Let's go with first, Deborah.
Oh, well, well, thanks so much, Melissa, and it's great to be here. Thank you all for making the time. I think the most precious gift that we have is our time, yeah? And as First Nations people, that time that we've spent on this land, wherever we come from, we are very keenly aware of time and how precious it is. So thank you for the time that you've given this evening. And this artist here, Vicki Sullivan, we've actually come together on a couple of projects. This was not the first one, was it, Vicki?
This was the fourth one.
Wow, gosh,
But
we're racking it up.
the first one was a big, tall, full-length one for the Archibald that didn't get in, but it ended up in another collection eventually.
Yeah.
And then I did 2 head studies for that, and you've got one.
Yes, yes.
And
I
I've
do.
got the other one.
And you have the other.
And the other one is the study for this painting here. And I really liked it. And then over COVID, we were in lockdown in Victoria and we could only go 5 kilometres and there was nobody famous within 5 kilometres that I could think of.
Oh, talking down rye there, but anyway, never mind. I'm sure there must have been someone.
It's more that I don't get out much, probably.
I see. Well, none of us did.
And so I thought, I've got that really beautiful one of Deborah. I could ask her if I could use that. And I did. And she said, yeah, sure, which was great because I'd been entering every year and I didn't want to miss a year because I'm getting older. And I just wanted to get into the Archibald. And so I painted this and it got into the Salon de Refusé, which was the first time. So that was fun. And now
Incredible.
It's here, which is even better.
And it was so exciting also because it's a development. You were asking Melissa about what it's like to be a sitter, what it's like to be a painter, but I think when you're painting portraiture, to me it's about the development of a relationship and finding common language, not only culturally but also we're both artists, a visual artist, a musician, and finding that common ground. So for me it was a fascinating process to see someone as skilled as Vicki is to take an idea and to see so much of my own thought process come through the materials that you've used on that canvas is quite I don't know, uplifting and also challenging and ultimately just very life affirming.
Thank you. Well, it was really lovely that when we talked about me painting this second portrait for the Archibald, Deborah had been looking through her photos and had found that photo of her as a little girl, and she sent it to me and said, maybe you want to put this in the painting somehow, and maybe in the background, or, you were thinking of it big in the background, and it ended up I decided to do it as like a trompe-l'oeil, and my mum came to visit, and she thought I'd stuck it on there.
It's so
that was
realistic.
funny.
Do people here know the title of the work, The Stolen Songline of Miss Roseland's 2-year-old? assuming that everybody here knows where Roselands is. It was the first shopping centre in Sydney. Yes, Westfield Miranda is bigger, but Roselands was the first. And when Roselands celebrated its second anniversary, it had a 2-year-old competition. And my adopted parents, I don't know why, perhaps the prizes were glorious or something, but they put me into that competition. I was the joint winner with a young boy named James, and the local newspaper announced that I was too shy to kiss the joint winner. I was too lesbian to kiss the joint winner. But anyway, the leader wasn't going to report on that. It's such an important songline and storyline. So I was really thrilled that our relationship was at a point where I could make some suggestions about the actual content of the painting and for you to be able to represent that so strongly.
I really enjoyed that collaboration, actually. I think for me, it adds something extra to the painting. Definitely, yeah.
I definitely thought that the image of you as a young girl was tacked on. Yeah, it was a photograph rather than an actual painting. So, yes, I was fooled also.
Did the job, man.
Did the job.
You didn't touch it though.
No, I didn't scratch it. I know not to scratch the artwork. There's other artwork that I'd like to scratch, but that's not one of them. So Charlie, you've painted Lynn.
I have. I got. Yes, I was very, very. Why are you laughing? It's amazing. It's amazing. Lynn, I think this is her exact response actually when I first asked. I was like, I would really love to have the opportunity to capture you and do a portrait of you. And I think you actually did giggle at me. That's like, why?
I think I did.
Why me?
Yep.
I was like, oh. Well, Lynette is beyond an incredible woman. Like, she's the founder of Indigenous, education in Australia. She's an unbelievable asset in the universities, lecturing to, like thousands and thousands of people. You've travelled all over Australia. You have supported so many Indigenous programs and education, like growth programs. I don't think there's anyone that has actually contributed so heavily in those foundational areas within your work. So thank you so much for that. Just even outside this painting, you're a real star.
Aww.
In every way. You are. You really are. And too humble as well, I must say. Yeah, absolutely too humble. And not only is she so, I guess, in a very technical respect, you were also very artistic yourself. This is actually a gown that she created. It's a cloak, a traditional cloak from the Gadigal, Wiradjuri and Maori. Yes.
No, Dubbo.
On Dubbo.
This is the Dubbo one.
Yes, from the background. And that is the possum symbology.
So the Dubbo people, clan totem.
Yes, which is beautiful. And we chose to depict that in the painting as well because it is so significant. However, this is one of, you've done nearly 30, haven't you? Roundabout? Yeah. I got the opportunity to see 9 different ones that Lynette actually made. And this one definitely, rings most true to you. And the photo process was hilarious when we were going through taking some. We had a lot of laughing ones, smiling ones, whatever. And I was like, I feel like we need to get that edge that I saw before when you were on the phone. Were you getting someone in trouble?
One of my kids.
Yeah.
She said to me, give me one of those looks like you're looking through someone.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I know that look.
Yeah.
And so I gave her the look and she took the photo. And
that was
when the portrait was finished, my eldest son saw it and he went, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. And I went, I thought of you as I did that look.
Totally him.
It was very good.
It is him, totally.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I think we took close to 50 photos before, and then we came to that and I was like, nah, this is the one. So we had a great live sitting together. Same thing with upcoming with COVID and everything. She was only within that radius as well, which was very lucky too. around the same time, so ironically, which I find surreal. Like, out of all the paintings and pictures, it's that you were doing that around the same time. Like, I still find that quite mind-blowing. And they're both...
And we
up
chose
here.
both artworks for that reason.
Yeah. Okay, but I was about to be like, wow, okay, wow. Yeah. I still don't know how that... Anyway, the universe, it was meant to be. You're both meant to be there, staring down these men at the back of the room. It's like evil eyes, both of you. It's brilliant, so appropriate, so powerful. Only two living people, you know, I feel like as well.
I'm really grateful that you said that we were living.
Yeah.
So, thank you for that.
Yeah, very significant.
It was in my promo, my intro thing, so...
Oh, very good, very good. Also, in the back of the painting, you can see in the black, we made sure it's quite discreet, but there's some beautiful symbology there that I received the rights to use that both Lynette and
A lot of Wiradjuri symbols are in the background that you can't see just looking at it. You actually have to go up and have a close look at that background. Yeah.
We wanted to make it a little bit textured so that it does kind of allude to something going on, not taking away from obviously that stare and that posture. And then we have the moonlight sort of aura around her, but that was meant to be a representation how typically, I guess, you know, European white males were depicted with, you know, kind of spiritual-like halos. And I thought that you, after everything you've been through, Lynette is also not only, I thought it was 2, but 4 times cancer survivor, and she's still here. So not only that, raised her children all by herself, just incredibly powerful and just soldiers on, no complaints. So I was like, you earn that halo, you know? You are heavenly and godly and something beyond divine.
You haven't heard me screaming at my kids.
It's all right, I'm not
all
your
the
child.
students at uni.
That's very true. I won't ever. You've only ever been nice to me, but yes. Yeah, I'm very...
I thought it was the moon, and Charlie put me right, so it was, it was a halo. But it's moon strength and magic and strength, I think, is important as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's also the only portrait that I've ever had painted of me.
Really?
So I was really excited, even though I giggled because I thought, why does she want a portrait of me? Okay.
Yeah.
But I was really honoured, and I really enjoyed getting to know Charlotte and going through the whole process of, you know, what do you have to do to create a portrait, you know, and the photo sessions, and then seeing the portrait halfway through and then seeing the finished product. And I remember at one point, when it was halfway through and you were doing some brush strokes or dots.
Yes.
And I said, no.
Can't do it like that.
No, it's not dots.
If it was up to her, she would have just taken over with the paintbrush, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, please don't do that.
I went, no, this is how you've got to do it. Yeah. And I said, for this bit, it's not dots, it has to be strokes. Because we have a painting style in Wiradjuri called little sticks. And I said, it's not dots, it's little sticks. Yeah. So you've got to incorporate that in. Yeah. And I showed her where, and she went, oh, yeah. Okay. So it was really good.
And which is such a valid thing, and I think we've discussed this together actually with you both. Yeah. It's so important never to appropriate a way or interpretation
or
of...
approximate a way.
Exactly, yeah. So to make sure and to honour that and make sure it's truthful and the right representation, because it is so significant when it comes to artwork. That is storytelling too. This is like a lineage of history, and, you know, we want to make sure that we're doing that correctly and not, you know, overstepping of doing anything that would ever be incorrect. So thank you for the guidance with that. It was taken on board. Yeah, very good.
So Vicki, you describe yourself as a new Renaissance artist.
Oh, well, just because I'm painting in the... because I'm painting in the old master methods. When my kids were older, I'd always wanted to learn realism, and I saved up and went and studied in Italy for a while. So I saved up for 3 years and went and did a trimester, and saved up for another 3 and went back again.
And how then did that sort of translate to your artwork of Deborah?
Well, when we spoke about that, and because Deborah had been recently to Italy too, and had done this, the formal training and, in a way that formal sort of classical training, I suppose, is something that was different art forms, but, we both had
Common
shared
ground.
Common
Yeah,
ground.
totally.
That's the phrase.
Realism is still valid.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so against things that are mutually exclusive, that you can only have one style that dominates. Sure, developments, evolution of artistic expression, that's necessary, but I think things can coexist. And I'm a real fan of realism, actually, when it's in the hands of two such artists as Charlie and as Vicki. You start to see something of yourself that someone else has seen in you, and that's a real privilege.
And I sort of try and get my work to have a feeling in it, and I think I do build up layers. So, I start with the underpainting and then I end up doing so many layers. But while I'm doing that, I'm thinking about the person, I'm thinking about the decisions to support the feeling that I'm trying to convey, and the feeling in that one was to do with the story of the photo. I don't know if it comes across, but
it does.
That was what was behind it.
Yeah, it's the clipping from the Leader newspaper. But the thing about it is I had various photos that my parents had kept from the photo shoot after the competition, also the Leader article. Now, as a member of the Stolen Generation, I am so privileged that I actually got to reconnect with my family, because so many of us did not have that opportunity. But I did reconnect with my family. In fact, I reconnected with some more family I might talk about later in this gallery, just as we were standing around tonight. There's a portrait of one of my ancestors.
Wow.
But my Aboriginal mother, Monica Little, she was the youngest sister in the Little family, Jimmy being the eldest, and who became the legend of country music. And Monica, I was taken from her when I was just 3 weeks old, and she searched and searched and searched for me. We didn't really connect until my mid-20s, but when we did connect, I went to her home, and we were going through bits and pieces that were part of anything she could hold on to that was about me. And there amongst her possessions was this news clipping. The same news clipping that my parents had, that was part of my own story. So although I didn't meet her and connect with her for the best part of 25 years, she had this picture.
Oh my God.
And so to me, it was like a point of connection. It's difficult to describe, and that's why you actually have to have art.
Yeah.
Because that can elevate thought in a way that very few other things can. In fact, I'll go as far as to say nothing else can. Music, art, dance, these things elevate our thought and make connections that we can't simply do just verbally.
Yeah.
We can't. So that's why it was so important that not only that it was painted, but that you've got this little bit of sticky tape, ageing sticky tape. There's something about the sort of visceral nature of that, and we can think back to when we stuck things into, scrapbooks and so forth back in the day. But I go back to my original point, Melissa, and that is that these things that artists can say about us and capture are only possible through the development of a relationship. And this is why AI will never replace that. As clever as it may become, and as easy as it may become, or whatever else we think it may become, it can't replace the unpredictable nature of the human relationship. Yeah?
And it doesn't have feeling. AI cannot have feelings.
No.
But humans we still have feelings, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that, just merely crying over here.
I think that's really relevant for us as well, because when we actually got together through a mutual friend, Liz, who Charlie had spoken to about maybe doing a portrait for the Archibald, and she said, "Oh, you should do my friend Lynn."
Yeah.
And so she rang me up and said, "Come over and meet Charlie." And we decided that if we didn't like one another,
Then we wouldn't do
we
it.
wouldn't do it. It took us all of 5 minutes and we went, "Oh no, she's okay.
Yeah, we're like, it's good.
Yeah, that's
That
okay."
made the cut.
Yeah, and
The other people before Lynn didn't, so, you know,
Oh.
she was kind of...
I thought I was your first.
No, no. You know, when you go through a mental process of different people, like, you know, who would be a good candidate? Maybe this person, maybe that person. And then exactly like you said, whether you're having a conversation with them and you're like, that's not it. You're not even going to mention it to them. And then once, like I had briefed that with Liz, and then she said you, and I was like, all right. She told me a little bit about you. I was like, she sounds pretty good. And then when I met you, when I left, I was like, oh, sorry. I hope everyone heard that. Yeah, I called my mum and I was like, Mum, she's the one. We got this. I was like, that's it. Lynette's a legend.
It's been a long time since I've been the one, so thank you. We just got on really well.
And got distracted a lot, clearly, as you can tell. This is what happened. Yeah.
So Charlie, have you done any other portraiture?
I do predominantly just commissions for people. So I do a lot of intimate commissions and personal commissions, some of which, ironically as well, you're not, and this would happen to you as well, Vicki, that you're not allowed to post or share or document, which is really hard because, you know, a huge part of our jobs. I'm also a full-time tattoo artist, if anyone wanted to take a wild guess. But I have my own studio that I run with my beautiful partner, Joshua, in Bondi Beach, Sydney, on the corner of O'Brien and Old South Old
And she's
South
really good.
Oh, thank you. So I do that full time and do all my commissions on the side. But yes, it is so difficult that often you do get these beautiful requests and you're, oh my God, and you do a piece and you're like, this is unreal, and like, I'd really prefer you to keep that personal and private and not post that. And you're like, no worries, I just spent 8 months on that. I won't show anyone. And then you get your modest payment for it and you're like, wow, that's cool. It's like I just didn't work for, 8 months on this piece. But in saying that, I think that was what was so unbelievably rewarding with this, the whole, process and progress of it getting here. It's like this trumps everything being here. Like,
And not just here, in this room, staring down that wall.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. That's
And
it.
please take the time afterwards
To read those stories.
go to the little light green commentaries. Yeah, because finally the story that needs to be told,
It's been hidden.
that's been hidden, suppressed in some cases, just ignored, denied certainly, has been meticulously pulled together for you all. And I was talking to Damien backstage, we were having a chat, and we were saying, well, it's not every single picture, although I'd like it to be every painting is described. Maybe you can do that in QR land, but I think it's so incredibly vital. And you were saying, people don't really like to be lectured to. You know what? Bad luck. No, really, I'm serious about that. If that is what it takes for an elder not to be booed on Anzac Day or any other day, if that is what it takes to give the 35% of Australians who voted yes, if that is what it takes for an audience like this who come together to listen, to actually give that person a dressing down or tell them to stop or stand in their way in whatever means you can, then that is what we have to do. If a lecture is what it takes, it's a really first world problem. And I'm sorry, there need to be more lectures. But for what there is in this room, it's so incredibly powerful. If you read one, in fact, you need to read two. But if you read one, read the one about Joseph Banks.
Yes.
My longest time friend is here tonight, and Vivian, I'm going to call you out. In our friendship at primary school and in high school, Vivian was the artist. I was the singer-songwriter, you know, from early days on, and I'm really glad that you're here, Viv. When Vivian and I went to school, you know, Sir Joseph Banks was the most benign and helpful botanist, and wow, read the comment. Okay? And it's not mutually exclusive of his intelligence and his hard work, but at the same time, he was a headhunter. Over here, this picture of Ogilvy, is it?
Yeah.
Yes.
In the very ornate golden frame. When Roberts went to paint him, he was also interested who was in the kitchen. And next to Ogilvy, you can all turn around, it's not rude, there with the red background. Damien will go and stand and, yep. Next to Ogilvy she was known as Maria Charles, but also Mariah Charles, and also as Mariah Charles Little. So the Little family, although I'm Yorta Yorta by birth, because I come from a matrilineal songline, the Yorta Yorta people on both sides of the Dungalla or the Murray River, as it's more recently been named, that northern Victorian, southern New South Wales space that was Yorta Yorta people. Well, my grandfather came actually from the Yuin people, so southern Sapphire Coast. But his father was a survivor of a massacre just outside of Cherbourg Mission. And he and his cousin, they were 7, 8 years old. They were playing in the forest. They were just being kids. And they heard the gunshot ring out and returned to the camp. The smoke was still rising and everyone was gone. Everyone had been murdered of their family. So they ran and ran and ran. And they ran to a local property that was so-called owned by a man named Little. And my great-great-grandfather grew up on that property. He took the name Little. There's Mariah Little Charles right there. So you see these meticulously researched and restored histories. They don't just belong to me, they belong to you. The scar that was inflicted on Australia is something we all bear. It's something we all bear. Yes, it's been inflicted on us in a very particular way, but what the rest of Australia missed out on in those 200 and something years is a scar. What the relationship might have been had it just been the artists who'd come in the First Fleet. Just artists, just musicians, seeing a society that's knowledge is contained in art and music. With the artist, the painter is the dancer is the singer is the storyteller, the knowledge holder. That's been inflicted on us all. That's a scar that we share in common. So to go around this room, whether you feel lectured at or just enlightened a little bit, or your curiosity is set on fire, whichever those it happens to be, or all of them, do it, because I learned something today that I didn't know, and it filled in a piece of me that I didn't even know was missing. My relation, Mariah Charles Little.
We've spent years and years and years researching that painting in particular, and when it first came to the library, it was Aboriginal woman. And so through the years and through lots of research done by Linda, myself, and others, and community support, we have been able to give Maria or Mariah a name. And now we have a story. We have the yarn that you've just told us about, you know, family and how she got to be in the kitchen of Edward Ogilvie. So,
Well, you know, Melissa,
we
as you
learnt
were
that
saying,
tonight.
when this backdrop comes down, I'm going to be looking straight at her.
Ah,
You know.
yeah. Well, we're just going to have to keep this artwork up.
Yeah.
Forever.
That's it. It's
That's
just going to
fine.
stay. It will have to stay.
Amazing.
I'm getting goosebumps, actually.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
It's amazing that you chose this
Wow.
painting to be here and that painting is there.
Yeah.
And we only just realised it.
And I actually don't think there's very many other women in this room as well. Like, there are a couple others, but I think that
I'm looking up the back. Is that my sister sitting in the back row there? Is that you, Lynette? Is Lynette up there? She's waving. So my sister's here. My sister's here. We share this. We were all taken from our mother, Monica, and she's here tonight. That's our relation there, sis. I know, right? I'm so glad you said on Facebook you might come tonight. And so I thought, well, when you said, I might come, that's how I read it. And then I thought everybody else well, I might come. So I said, well, I hope you do come, sis. And here you are. Could you stand up so I can... It's my sister, Lynette.
Hello! Hello.
Also an artist. So art runs deep in the Little family. And, you know, Jimmy was the singer that everybody knew, but he said, and many times, that Monica had the most beautiful voice in the family, least opportunity as a woman. And Leslie, you know, I was asking you a lot of searing questions backstage about, well, we're celebrating 200 years of the library, 200 years since it was a boys' subscription club. I said, well, how long are Aboriginal people celebrating the library? Because I'm pretty sure, although you say there was no rules to say no blacks, like many pubs or RSLs, it was definitely set up so many bars or barriers in the way for us not to come. So don't know when we celebrated 200 years in this library. And then, of course, I asked you how long have women been allowed to be in the library? But, you know, you might think, oh, why spoil a good occasion, Deborah? Just because I can. And you want me to, because you actually want someone else to ask these questions, perhaps, or maybe you want to ask the questions and someone else has the microphone. But we'll keep asking these questions until we realise that it hasn't all been a level playing field. And so, and the other thing is, and Lynette, back me up on this. Well, we've got various Lyns and Lynettes here, but back me up on this. You know, we have to be vigilantes in this space. It's not like we make the progress and then it's done and now we're all safe and we can just be together, and it doesn't happen that way. You let your guard down for any amount of time and then suddenly they're booing you at the football or Anzac Day or whatever, or suddenly they're raiding Camp Sovereignty in Melbourne and they're kicking people on the ground. You know, unfortunately, until the truth-telling is done, until it's begun, and then until it's done, we don't ever get to have the confidence of our relationships. I long for the day when someone says to me, or when, you know, no one else will say to me, I just don't want to get it wrong. Well, I don't want you to get it wrong either. So I'm going to empower you to get it right. Because I was saying to my wife, Nicolette, on the way here, you know, I want to ask for everybody that is, you know, a white Anglo background Australian, how many times have you ever thought, I've got to really modify my behaviour in this room so that everyone will like white people? Because that's what we do all the time. We have been conditioned to do that. And we live with that every single day. So if that's not something you've ever had to do, there are a lot of women in this audience, so I know you've had to think, I'm representing women. But when have you had to modify your behaviour because if I don't, people won't understand or like or allow white people to do something? Because that's been my entire childhood, my life as a student, my career as an artist. Wondering. And then, like days like today, I've sort of given up on that and just think, well, what the hell? I'm going to tell you what it actually is. And if it makes you uncomfortable and not want to hear me, then you've got more work to do. If you think you're curious about it, then you're already on your way. Reading these green signs that have been meticulously researched, please do it. We talked about having a Q&A and we decided no, because there's never enough time to really answer the questions and also allow the time for you to say what it is you want to say, because Q&As are often about that. But there are books up the back that people can write their questions into. Leslie, is that right, for later on?
There are 2 books, one at each entrance, for you to write your comments or questions or just, great job or whatever. You're talking about education and people need to be educated. Lynn, you are an educator.
Absolutely.
And that's from community all the way through to university. But overall, I think you're an artist, but you're a linguist as well.
Yeah.
So language is very big in your makeup as well. Your sister, and your sister created some books.
My sister Diane, she actually teaches Wiradjuri language back home. If I say anything in Wiradjuri, she corrects me all the time. That's what you do as sisters. And it's mainly because I'm not home. I'm not in the environment where I've got people around me that I can speak and talk my language all the time. So one of the things that I have done is work with her on creating 7 Wiradjuri workbooks.
Which are very beautiful to look at as well.
Yeah. And it was actually designed originally for when COVID hit, because I was working on a project with kids in out-of-home care, and when COVID hit, the birth parents couldn't maintain contact with their kids. And as a mum, I've raised 7 kids. I only had 4 myself, but, I raised the others. That was enough. But I just felt really horrible. I thought, fancy not being able to speak, because people didn't have computers or telephones. How could they maintain contact? So I volunteered my sister and I to write a book. I went home and I said, I volunteered us. I've got this great idea. We'll create a Wiradjuri workbook. And she looks at me and she says, so you want to put the whole Wiradjuri language in one workbook? And I looked at her and she went, the whole language, Lynn. And I went, oh, okay. So it became 2, 3, and then 7.
7, yeah.
So,
are they available? How can you access?
Well, we were actually just finalising a contract with IATSIS, and they're going to be our publishers. So I'm hoping that that'll happen by June and that they'll be out. So, yeah, very exciting. And that's where the symbols that Charlie's used in this have come from those workbooks.
And were so significant. And I felt so grateful, like you were very clear in outlining, making sure that I don't use or document them in any other way, like don't share them on social media or send them to anyone else, that they're exclusively for my use, which I felt so honoured and really privileged.
I think I gave you a set of the books, didn't I? So you could have a look at them.
Which was beautiful. Yeah. And then we went through and found which particular ones we felt, would work beautifully in the piece. So we used some spirit symbols, we used some tree symbols, we used some water symbols, and some air symbols. Stars. Yeah, it was really, really beautiful. And you helped me with those. I made sure as well, because like anything, you can't necessarily just put things in random order. There's, a way that they're communicated and the way that they have to be translated. And you guided me with those. And I think you chose perfectly. And it was really great being able to do that. Yeah. And your sister approved as well, which was important. We had to send it to her too. Lynn was like, I really like these and these, this will work, this makes sense, this is honouring it all, everything. And I was like, excellent. And she was like, but don't do it yet because I'm just going to speak to my sister and I'll get back to you. And I was like, okay. So then we got the go-ahead and it was excellent. We executed it. It was great. But that was rather hilarious. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure she's never had to take into consideration the
Going in an artwork.
the sitter's sister.
Yeah. No, but I did. I made sure. And that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. And I love having that background. I think that, like, exactly as we were talking about, you know, the background and those, you know, finer details that you add, that's the story behind the artwork. And often you look at it and you're like, this is beautiful composition, that works, these tones are great, you know, it's executed amazing. But when you know the background, I think that adds so much more depth and value. And that is what's communicated in you two strong women, both of you. And it's amazing, you know, even the posture and the positioning, there are similarities there in both the ways that you hold yourselves. And yeah, we're just very, very, very proud to be able to have captured.
Yeah. I remember when she first contacted me to do the portrait, she said, bring something that's you. And I thought, bring something that's me.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I do kangaroo cloaks.
Yeah.
And she said, what's that?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll bring a few to show you.
Amazing.
And that's how then she saw the cloaks and she went, okay, I know how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And that really helped set the scene then.
Totally, completely.
So I might tell you, when the portrait was finished and Charlie offered it to me, I offered it to my youngest daughter to sit in her lounge room and she just went, no, Mum.
I don't want you
So I'm
looking at me
really,
with that.
really grateful that
That's cute, and you guys can
the
appreciate it.
library asked me because nobody else would have it. My daughter didn't. She said, I've seen that look a lot. I don't want it looking at me every night.
So good. I remember before my partner had met you and I was painting and he was like, wow, you know, she seems pretty tough. I was like, yeah, she is. And he's like, I'm going to get to meet her. Hey, and I was like, yeah. And then when he got to meet her, he was like, oh, she's so nice. I was like, that face though. He's like, nah, we don't want to be on that side of it. Let's stay on this side. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
I've had some of my students say to me, oh, we know that look. Yeah. And I went, I'm not that bad. And they go, oh, you can be.
Yeah.
You can be.
But you need to have that. So.
We had a moment like that too with symbolism, didn't we? Not in this portrait, but in the previous, the first one?
Yes,
Yeah.
the dress of 1,000 dots.
Yeah, and 1,000 symbols from Tiwi culture, which was made into a beautiful skirt by designer Linda Britton.
Silk skirt.
Yeah, silk skirt.
Wow.
And, you know, we had that hard conversation about, you know, it's a full silk skirt, a massive, if you think, a gown that a soprano would wear. So it's not just, you know, one or two patterns, it's a massive pattern.
And I took Deborah down to the beach, the back beach, because I live by the coast, and the wind was blowing and the surf was billowing everywhere, and the dress was billowing around, remember?
And I was referencing an artist in that. It was
the Goya, because Goya is a famous Spanish artist from a long time ago, and he painted the Duchess of Elba several times, and she was a big landowner. I think she owned about half of Spain, and he painted her pointing at the ground. And I just kind of thought, you know,
That's cool.
that'd be a good sort of little story, like a hidden kind of thing. So Deborah's pointing at the ground, you know, and I don't know if anyone else got that reference, but that was in there.
Loved it.
Yeah, no, it was important. And, you know, I remember coming back to your studio and you'd done one of those portraits that was just for a commission that would not necessarily be seen, I think.
One of those.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
The gentleman
I get
in the
them too.
portrait had this pin dot tie on.
That's right.
Just like, and you were saying, oh, it's been mind-blowing putting all these in. and you said, now with the pattern on this skirt, is it okay if I just represent that? I said, no, it has to be as meticulous as that tie.
And it was.
And it has
3 years later.
as much and much more meaning than that tie. And that sort of, That's actually, that moment is what I keep coming back to about our relationship. You weren't afraid to learn something in that moment, and I wasn't afraid to have that conversation with you. You'd made that inviting space possible, that, you know, this was a critical moment. It wasn't even my own culture that I was defending there, but I was definitely defending the culture of the Tiwi people and the symbology in that skirt. And that painting it's been a really important one in our relationship, I think.
Yeah.
Well, the time has just flown. We've come to the end of our hour, and so I have one more question. Just one more question. I have 5 questions here, and you've answered all of them. So I didn't even have to ask anything. So thank you guys for doing that, doing my job for me. But what does it mean for you to have this specific artwork in this gallery, and knowing that you're the only 2 living people in the gallery? So how huge is it? Is it huge, or is it just...
Well, you were saying what it means to you, Vicki, backstage.
Yeah, look, I've got to say that it's the most exciting thing that's ever happened in my career. So thank you, Deborah, for giving me the opportunity to paint you. It's been such a pleasure. And I did bribe her with a fish lunch the first time.
That is true.
Got to feed him, make him happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me and Vicki were saying to each other before, we're like, we hope you just don't go up there and cry. Yeah. It's pretty emotional, and it's huge in the way that it's almost a bit inconceivable. I was briefly telling the story of how when I first got the call from Ron about it being pieced in this incredible gallery, and I was with my grandfather at the time. I told him, and he was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, you don't believe me, do you? Okay, I'll talk to my mum. I talked to my mum. My mum was like, that is amazing, congratulations. She's like, but you know, we're just gonna wait until it's up, you know, and then we'll tell people. I'm like, there's no one, beep, you know, trusting me and believing what I'm saying. The beeping was for the swearing, because I couldn't believe it at the time. And then I actually spoke to Lynn, and you received it incredibly well, I think. And you were like, yeah, damn right, we should be. That's unreal, like, blah, blah. The Archibald didn't accept us, so this is really great. I think this is better than that, blah, blah. Then I re-spoke to my mum, and my mum, you know, also, you know, encouraged and was very supportive too. But it was funny. Then finally, when this did all eventuate, like when we briefly spoke about it before, we're like, I can't believe it. When we first walked in and saw it, I was like, it was wild. Just, yeah.
I must say that I've finally made it with my kids. They've seen the photos of the banners and they've gone, that's cool, Mum.
Yes, we did it.
You're cool.
Yeah.
That's all it's taken.
Yeah, wow. A bit.
It's only taken almost 70 years, but...
I deserve a bit of that, but yes, that's good.
That's it.
The
We're fine now.
The power of art.
Yeah, see the power.
Immortalised finally.
Yeah.
No, my kids finally think I'm cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
I'm proud we've increased the female representation in the room.
This room, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not sharing walls with anyone, either of you. Everyone else has multiple pieces on a wall, and both of you have your own wall.
We got our own wall.
You got your own wall.
The strength
Damn
of your
right.
own wall.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, thank you very much for sharing and being part of this panel with us, with me tonight, and sharing with everybody your stories of being a sitter, being the artist, and just the overwhelming, or the underwhelming of being here in this gallery as well. So thank you, and
Thank you for listening
coming
to us.
Thanks so much for coming.